You guys can sit down. Graduates, parents, family, and friends, it's wonderful to have you here to celebrate this amazing occasion. Every year when this happens, it makes me think back to my graduation, which is now 21 years ago, or legally old enough to drink in the US. As the graduates know, I graduated from UCD in my home country of Ireland. Despite being here at ND for 13 years now, every time I hear "Go Irish," I feel compelled to say thank you. Mostly because it gets a laugh like that. Graduates, it's great to see you all here today. Nano, I still struggle to recognize you with so little hair. Richie, you'll be delighted to know my daughter was inspired by you and your fellow drummers to pursue percussion in middle school, and she loves it. By the way, Richie, Leslie, and Brian, my kids still ask me about the fluid mechanics of unicorn flatulence, inspired by the wonderful video you made for my class. Kaysen, your prowess in the pool and being an excellent student has inspired me to take up swimming, and I've started doing triathlons, something I never thought I would do. Oscar, last year at Thanksgiving, we added some wonderful Mexican food to the mix with my neighbors, which reminded me of those wonderful stories you shared with me. Daniel, thanks for struggling through differential equation and fluid mechanics with me and engaging so much inside and outside of class. I hope your next adventure in Ireland is amazing. Patty, you are the only person who could ever convince me to buy more Notre Dame apparel when I get so much of it for free. I wish I could call all of you out, but I'm not sure we have the time. There are some other speakers. So back to my memories of this time in my life. When I graduated, I quite frankly did not know what I wanted to do with my life. I'd been in some sort of schooling since I was 4 years old, and I was frankly sick and tired of it. And I wasn't really certain that I even wanted to be an engineer. So I decided to explore. My first real job was with a friend of mine who had started his own company, who hired me as his right-hand man. We were two 20-year-olds doing things we had no right to be doing. We secured hundreds of thousands of euros of funding, we borrowed more, we chased people who owed us money, and we actively avoided those we owed money to. At one point, I even negotiated with the Irish terrorist organization turned organized crime group, the IRA, because they threatened to destroy our premises should we not hire their people as security. If you've never been in a room with gangsters, it's not an experience I'd recommend. Anyway, after some successes and a lot of mistakes, that company failed miserably. My friend rapidly started a second one, which also failed. He then started a third, which succeeded, and Hugh is now on his fifth company that is thriving. I decided this wasn't the path for me and thought I'd give engineering a go, taking a job with a large and prestigious engineering firm in the UK. I got to work on some very cool projects while I was doing that, which to this day I'm very proud of. However, I quickly learned that I'm not a great rule follower when I think that rules are stupid, and that I don't have much respect for authority, wanting to do what I think is best rather than following orders. This rebellious streak actually meant that I built a relationship with the senior founding partner of this company, which has hundreds of employees just at this office alone, as I was the only junior staff member who would grab my lunch and confidently invite myself sit next to him, talking candidly about my experience and suggesting my ideas. I think he found it quite funny that this 22-year-old with no life experience was happy to do this and not intimidated by him. And it was clear that he respected me, as he's offered me a job multiple times since. But I can tell you my direct boss and his boss were not big fans. They were happy with my work, but didn't like certain aspects of my approach, and felt that I rocked the boat a little too much. Frustrated, feeling like I was failing my potential and desiring to grow, I decided that I'd go back to graduate school to do a PhD. So I moved to San Diego and I did just that. I loved my PhD, but it was also the hardest thing that I had done to date. Unlike my previous educational experiences, I failed a lot. For the first time in life, I failed an exam. After my first official presentation, my advisor made a bet with his wife that I would never complete my PhD. A fact that she only told me the day I graduated, and how delighted she was that I proved him wrong. Today, he boasts proudly about me. Again, something she, not he, shares with me. During the course of my PhD, I flooded my advisor's lab not once, not twice, but 4 times. That's when I learned that while I love fluid mechanics, I am not an experimentalist at heart, as I would get distracted thinking of how I would mathematically model the things I was seeing, which is what I do today. After that, I moved to Barcelona, where I had 3 amazing years and my research career really took off. But where I also failed many times, one day being publicly reprimanded and shamed by the very old school head of our research group. I then took the job here at Notre Dame, and if I thought doing my PhD was hard, becoming a professor was even harder. I had to quickly learn to deal with failure, having papers and proposals rejected, dealing with large and diverse set of personalities amongst undergraduates and graduate students and colleagues, managing a research group, teaching classes I had never even taken while I was a student, while also becoming a parent and making lots of mistakes there. Which I'm sure all the parents in the room here can hopefully relate to. I got through it. I learned from my failures. Despite my many mistakes, my kids seem to be doing pretty well, although I'll give my wife a lot of credit for that. And today, I'm the department chair of our department. In that role, I continue to make mistakes and fail on a regular basis. I'm sure that my colleagues here would be happy to share their frustrations with you, should you like to hear about that. But I do try to learn from those mistakes, take responsibility for them, and get better by the day. I don't know if all of you look at me and think of a story that has some success associated with it, but when I look at my life and where I am, I certainly do. I have a great job that I love. I have a wonderful family. I have colleagues who I respect and look forward to interacting with daily, and I get to educate and interact with wonderful people like you, young men and women in front of me here, that brings me great joy and a great sense of purpose. So why am I telling you all of this today? This day is not about me, it's about you. Shouldn't I be singing your praises and telling you all that a wonderful life is ahead of you? Well, you are great, and I do believe that a wonderful life is ahead of you. But I want you to focus on one thing about the life story I just told you. The common thread to everything that I have done since graduating. Failure. Yes, I have had success, but most all of them came after struggle. You are high-achieving people who have done tremendously well to date. But I guarantee you one thing, no matter who you are. When you enter the professional world, you will make mistakes and you will fail. And that is a wonderful thing, as long as you embrace it and learn from it. In a recent strategic planning meeting, our experts on planning told me, if you achieve all of your goals, then you have actually failed, not making some of them hard enough. To move forward, you want to fail on some fronts. As my French teacher, Mrs. Egan, used to say, if you want to land on the roof, aim for the sky. The greatest lessons in life come from failure. My secondary school Latin teacher, a Jesuit priest by the name of Father Brennan, made us pray the Serenity Prayer at the beginning of every class. You know the one. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. He also always had the following phrase written boldly on his chalkboard. Good judgment comes from experience. Experience comes from bad judgment. From my personal experience, I can tell you of no better universal truth that we can all embrace. While I only remember some of the French Mrs. Egan taught me, and almost none of the Latin Father Brennan taught me, I do very clearly remember these invaluable lessons. Most of you, unfortunately, won't remember the fluid mechanics that I taught you. But I do hope you remember this. Go out into the world, embrace failure, take risks, and reap the rewards even when things go wrong. It will pay off in the long run, I promise you that. Ari, remember when you emailed me from Chile, all panicked about the hydraulics class, that you were going to fail? Well, you got through it, and I guarantee you are stronger and better for it. Caitlin, remember in Ecuador when the water tower we designed started to buckle and posed a threat to kill the little school children who we were supposed to be providing clean water to? Well, we worked with our local hero Ramiro to fix the issue, and now it's doing what it's supposed to do. I think we can all agree we learned a valuable lesson there. Micah, remember all those struggles with fluid mechanics and other subjects and time spent in office hours and beyond? Well, you're here today, and again, better for it. And how could I not mention Elena, who fearlessly asked any question anyone had in class? Parents, students would funnel and whisper questions to Elena so that she would shamelessly ask me them. Never being afraid of looking foolish or failing to come across as all-knowing, Elena ended up coming across as quite the opposite, and I admire you greatly for it. Or Lee, who never missed a single set of office hours and always worked to learn from his mistakes. You've all probably got similar stories, but now in the future lives, the failures will feel bigger and likely come faster and more frequently. Don't fear it, embrace it, write your story, so that in 21 years you can come back and visit us on campus and tell me all about them. I can't wait to hear about it. Please visit us often and visit us frequently. We love to hear from all of you. Okay, next, thank you. Next, I'd like to invite Professor Andrew Kennedy up to the stage for the Order of the Engineer.
Thank you, Diogo. And congratulations, everyone. Looking out at the assembled crowd, I have seen probably a quarter of you all the time, and 3/4 of you I have not seen since this time last year. So good to see everyone. For the parents and families, I teach all civil and environmental engineers hydraulics in their junior year. So I see pretty much everyone with the exception of maybe a couple of students who are abroad when they're taking that. And as an aside, a few years ago, I nearly gave one of those students who I didn't teach a heart attack by insisting very loudly to her that she wasn't allowed to graduate unless I taught her a class. But fortunately, I only did that for about 30 seconds. She was a very, very good student as well, very good. So, but here today, I'm going to talk to you about the order of the engineer. You all should have packets in your handouts somewhere, and the order of the engineer was begun in, the calling of the engineer was begun in 1920s Canada as a way to bring members of the engineering profession together. It's symbolized by the wearing of a ring on the working finger of your little hand. I grew up in Canada. I went to undergraduate school there, and the rumor that we were always told was that the rings were from the remnants of a bridge that failed during construction. So they took it and cut it up into little rings so that people would remember that things can fail. And this is a common theme of the calling of the engineer. Now, there's a ceremony for the order of the engineer. It's quite long. We're not going to go through all of it. But there's one part of your education that I'm almost certain that you have not got yet. And I could lie and say it's required by ALED, but it really isn't. Guess it. So it's engineering poetry. You didn't guess that, did you? And by a Nobel Prize winner, no less, Rudyard Kipling, who was a great friend to engineers. Was very popular, maybe not quite as popular these days, but he wrote engineering poetry. So if we can go to the next slide, please. And this is called The Sons of Martha. It's quite long. We'll only look at a little bit, but it encapsulates a fair bit of what it means to be an engineer. And I'll go through this with commentary. So, as many of you remember the biblical story of Mary and Martha, where Martha was working hard in the kitchen to get food, and Mary was sitting at Jesus' feet, and Martha was not very happy about it, and Jesus said that Mary was doing a good thing, and so the sons of Martha. So the sons of Mary seldom bother, for they have inherited that good part. And at Notre Dame, the sons of Mary will think of them as the people from the colleges of PlayStation, I'll call them. You know what they are. But the sons of Martha, that's you, favor their mother of the careful soul and the troubled heart. And because of her temper once, she lost her temper once, and because she was rude to the Lord her guest, her sons must wait upon Mary's sons, world without end, reprieve, or rest. So essentially what that's saying is that engineers, that's you, have to take all the care so that others don't have to. Sorry, should have learned that earlier. A little late for that. It is in their care in all the ages to take the buffet and cushion the shock. It is their care that the gear engages. It is their care that the switches lock. It is their care that the wheels run truly. It is their care to embark and entrain, tally, transport, and deliver duly the sons of Mary by land and main. So we, as engineers, are entrusted with taking care of everyone. So that seems fine. But, last verse, and the sons of Mary smile and are blessed. They know the angels are on their side. They know in them is the grace confessed, and for them are the mercies multiplied. They sit at the feet, they hear the word, they see how truly the promise runs. They have cast their burden upon the Lord, and the Lord, he lays it upon Martha's sons. So, congratulations, you're in charge. Okay, we'll move on to the next. There's a very long ceremony, which we're not going to do at all. Next slide, please. The Order of the Engineer was begun in the United States in 1970, which is not directly affiliated with the Canadian institution. It spread to many places, including Notre Dame. And again, you wear the iron ring on the stainless steel now on the little finger of your working hand. We won't go through everything, but we'll just go to the Engineer's Creed, which I believe you have in your packet, I hope. And if not, it will be on the screen. Do you have it in your packet? I'm seeing no's, yeses. I'm seeing yeses. I'll give it a minute. So we will all read it together in a second. So together, as a professional engineer, knowledge and skill to the advancement and betterment of human welfare, I pledge to give the utmost of performance, to participate in none but honest enterprise, to live and work according to the laws and the highest standards of professional conduct, to place service before profit, the honor and standing of the profession before personal advantage, and the public welfare above all other considerations. In humility and with need for divine guidance, I make this pledge. Place the ring on your little finger. Congratulations.
Thank you. And next, Patty, can you please come up? We'll have the first of our student speakers, Patricia Salazar.
Can I put this a little higher? Can I move this? Yeah. Can I move this a little higher? Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, faculty, staff, family, friends, and graduates. I'm incredibly grateful to be standing here as a representative of all the amazing civil and environmental engineers and earth scientist students here today. To everyone who chose me to be up here, thank you, but I also have to warn you that I may not have been the right choice considering I'm probably going to be sobbing at the end of this. But either way, thank you. You all have positively impacted my life in one way or another, making these past 4 years the absolute most memorable. I would like to start off by walking us through some of the most iconic moments in our undergraduate career. Ivan Navarrete was a PhD student from Chile who taught materials to the civils sophomore year. With COVID looming over us that semester, our attention spans weren't very long, and Ivan did as any fellow student would and played movie trailers in the middle of class to help us pay attention. We were so grateful to him for how understanding he was that we took him out to dinner at the end of the semester. I remember driving there with me behind the wheel, him in the passenger seat, and some other classmates in the back, blasting One Direction in the car with the windows down. We loved every second of it. Professor Andrew Kennedy was our hydraulics professor junior year, and very Canadian, I may add. I will never forget the first time I heard him pronounce the terms omega, beta, and theta as omega, beta, and theta. Or when my lab group flooded the Fitz basement lab, and though he was very upset, we all still had a laugh about it. Professor Diogo Bolster and Professor David Richter, who taught computational methods and fluid mechanics, are the most iconic best friends I think I've ever met. The classes they taught junior year were not only full of intense material, but also some good laughs when they would make fun of each other by showing awkward photos of their younger selves. And I will never forget when I saw Diogo at Ritter's with some non-civil, environmental, or sciences friends, and when my friends had admitted they'd never been there, he responded, "What? If you were in my class, you'd be failing by now." And if you don't know what Ritter's is, it's a local frozen custard stand that has new flavors every day. My friends and I are probably their biggest customers, so we all recommend you go before leaving South Bend. Brian Smith was our structural steel design professor last semester who was full of sarcasm and love for his family. We as a class would always love seeing pictures of his son Jude, and I have to add that I'm still a bit sad that we never got to meet him. I also have to bring up the fact that as seniors, a good amount of the class was missing the Friday of the Las Vegas Notre Dame football game. When I emailed him to tell him I was missing class, I could tell he seemed a bit disappointed, and I'll admit, a good amount of us were nervous to return to class and hear what he had to say. When we returned, he jokingly made a comment about being disappointed, but then added that if he were in our shoes, he definitely would have gone to the game. The moral of the story here is that this department, on top of being full of some of the most brilliant minds, is also full of kind, understanding, and hilarious professors. I don't believe for one second that any other engineering department is as lucky as we are. And I know for a fact that we're the best because we complain the least out of all the other engineering majors. This department isn't just made by the professors, though. Our students do a great job at making the CEEES department as amazing as it is. All of my fellow classmates are incredible in their own way, going on to do great things in the world, whether it be graduate school, like Andrew DeLuca going to Cornell, full-time jobs, like Maggie Matthews working for Primera Engineers in Chicago, or cool projects like ND-SEED, which has been one of the most impactful parts of my time here at Notre Dame. If you don't know what ND-SEED is, it stands for Notre Dame Students Empowering Through Engineering Development. We're an on-campus organization that works throughout the year to design and execute the construction of a pedestrian footbridge to help those in rural communities gain better access to healthcare, education, jobs, and more. 7 of my fellow classmates and I will be leaving for Bolivia on June 6th to build this bridge. I'll admit, I'm a bit scared thinking of the fact that we'll be doing manual labor for 8 hours a day, 6 days a week for almost 2 months straight. But there isn't anyone in the world I'd rather do with than Ari, Candace, Dan, Nano, Nick, Richie, and John. And the last shout out I want to give is to the people who are the reason I'm here up on this stage today, my parents. They came to the US from Mexico, sorry, in September of 1990, and have worked harder than anyone I know to be where they are today. Sorry. My parents have told me that if they had the opportunity to go to college, my mom would have wanted to be a lawyer and my dad would be a software engineer. Unfortunately, life doesn't always work out the way you want it to, but it does always work out the way it's meant to. Even though without college degrees, my parents are the smartest people I know. Like my dad always says, sí se puede. And guess what? Lo hicimos. We did it. Congratulations, everyone. You all deserve the best of what is to come. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Patty. Really appreciate that. Caitlin, can I now call you to the stage, please? So we also have a second speaker today, Caitlin Kano.
Howdy, y'all. Good afternoon to our faculty, staff, parents, family, and of course, all y'all lovely people, the class of 2023. In just one short day, CEEES really will get degrees. My name is Caitlin Kano, and I'm proud to graduate this weekend with a degree in environmental engineering with minors in environmental earth sciences and theology. I am so honored to get to speak today on behalf of my graduating class. Thank you to everyone who has walked with me in my Notre Dame experience, my classmates and friends, professors and advisors, and most of all, my wonderful family. Our time at Notre Dame has taught us so much, from actually being able to tell the difference between a pump and a turbine, to strategizing your Starbucks order to arrive just in time for 8 a.m. global change, from avoiding a cold call from Dr. Nuremberg, to successfully including the incredibly finicky Notre Dame logo in a CAD drawing package. And now we're done. Done pondering if we're really gonna buy that in Dr. Fine's class, done trying to convince Professor Cerrone that John Mayer is actually good, and done with the extravagant hydrology spreadsheets. And we're done with the unforgettable CEEES experience. Before I switched my major to environmental engineering 2.5 years ago, I was talking to my sweet roommate about the impending career shift that comes with a major change. We'd already gone over how much I'd like the electives and how great the cohort of classmates and professors would be and how I could still swing graduating on time. But one lingering question hung over me. Okay, so what does an environmental or civil engineer actually do? I didn't really have an answer then, but I truly think I do now. My very first environmental engineering course was biological process design with Dr. Nuremberg. In all honesty, I had some trouble coming around to the concept of 3 full credits about sewage, but that proved to be lesson number 1. The problems that we tackle in this department are often the hidden ones, the ones we encounter every day but aren't really thinking about. Working on these problems and pursuing a career in this field requires a certain humility, one that Christ himself and so many of the saints that followed him exemplify. The multi-lane intersections and leachate collection systems and aeration basins we might design will probably not be named after us. And what a gift that is. Our work is bigger than ourselves, and that's an incredible thing. As some of you may know, my first step after graduating won't exactly be the first step in my engineering career. This summer, I probably won't crack open BioWin or Bluebeam. I won't have to calculate a Reynolds number, and I certainly won't have to take a strike measurement of a geologic plane. But that's the amazing thing about this degree. Studying environmental engineering was so much more than just adding to my technical skill set. In this degree, I learned how to ask good questions and be a keen listener. I learned how to communicate to any audience using a variety of tools. I learned how to look at a problem from a million different angles and put human beings at the center of every solution. Engineers are, first and foremost, problem solvers, and here we were formed to be good ones. In the end, whether or not you go on to become a PE or a PM or the next Dr. Bolster, you'll inevitably use the skills you learned here. Maybe you'll culture some bacteria and pick up a kombucha habit, you'll employ all your hydraulic skills to fix your own plumbing, or you'll use a soil triangle to pick the perfect dirt for your new garden. This degree taught us to use the gifts God already sets before us, whether in the natural world or in our own minds, to create something truly good. I know we'll miss this place. We'll miss fun hat Fridays in mineralogy, the unencumbered rock room access, and the silliest Thursday shenanigans, which were, of course, the challenges seminars. And we'll even miss all those hours spent putting together the perfect MATLAB code for comp methods. It might be a little sad to say goodbye, but we're more than prepared for what's to come, using our hearts and minds to guide everything we do, learning from our successes and failures to accomplish our greatest purpose in life. So here we sit, finally in our cap and gown and pinky ring, in what I'll concede to be the better dining hall, with an incredible mission on our hearts. And I cannot wait to see the amazing things you all are going to do. CEEES class of 2023, from the bottom of my heart, thank you.
Thank you very much, Caitlin. Okay, next we're going to do presentation of awards. From previous year's experience, we know that having students stumble through and come on stage is a little awkward, so when I call your name, please stand up and we can all celebrate those individuals. So, first, the ASCE Activity Award for participation in the services and activities of the American Society of Civil Engineers goes to Jack Sainz and Eduardo or Lalo Seguro. The Steiner Award for the top senior students based on their involvement in the department and overall performance for the College of Engineering, Daniel Pronko and Nathaniel Burke. The Walter L. Schutz Award for undergraduate achievement, for best fulfilling their potential through hard work and dedication to obtaining the best possible education, Andrew DeLuca and Kason Wilburn. The Leroy D. Graves Academic Improvement Award for significant development in academic performance goes to Dastan Turselev. Sydney Kelsey Outstanding Scholar Award for Excellence and Creativity in Academics, Caitlin Kano and Elizabeth Capretta. The James A. McCarthy Scholarship, awarded during the junior year for outstanding academic and professional excellence, Yi Chao-kun and Daniel Pronko. The Joseph Bud Ahern Leadership Award to the graduating civil or environmental engineering seniors who have demonstrated the leadership qualities Bud embodied: humility and respect for others. In Bud's word, great leaders love to build and to belong to a potent human force so significant that they can make their purpose happen. Daniel Pronko, Ariana Bordonia-Jurkovic. The Kenneth R. Lauer Award for leadership, integrity, and service to fellow students and the community as determined by his or her classmates. Jack Sains. The Dr. Raymond C. Gutschik Award for demonstrating the most promise in environmental engineering or earth science research as evidenced by a successful undergraduate research project. Ella Junker. The Reverend Alexander Kirsch CSC Award for high qualities of personal character, scholarship, and leadership, Elena Herberg and Jack Saints. Congratulations to all of you. Okay, so next we have that friend of mine who I poke fun of in class giving the faculty remarks, David Richter.
All right, hi everyone. Hello class of 2023. Welcome to friends and family. We're thrilled to have you here. What a joyful occasion. So I'm so glad to be here representing the CEEES faculty. I'm humbled and honored to be chosen as second place by your students. As I used to say as a child, first is the worst, second is the best. I know I speak for all my colleagues when I say that we're incredibly proud of each of you and all the blood, sweat, and tears you poured into your work. Not just your classwork, but the myriad other activities you pursued as well. We've heard a little bit about this already. We've got athletes, band members, my kids now call bass drums Richie drums, ASCE champions, ROTC cadets, undergraduate researchers, someone from Kyrgyzstan, someone from LA, and someone from Orange County, and I was very promptly corrected that those are not the same thing. Someone from the great state of Iowa, at least one swing dancer, and even the sister of my 12-year-old Jolene, her 6th grade teacher. I think we even have an earth science major. So for those of you who don't know, I taught these young men and women a year and a half ago in a class called Computational Methods. You heard about that just a second ago. That was while they were still impressionable juniors, not the grizzled veterans you see before you. So this is the class where we learned how to solve hard math problems on a computer. The one which was so aptly and succinctly described by one of you on the anonymous course evaluation and, as I quote, the class that took hours away from my study time for other classes. So I'm not gonna lie, being up here is pretty nerve-wracking. I'm actually quite jittery right now, but as such, I've spent a lot of time thinking and praying. These are hours that I've taken away from my other classes, by the way. Thinking and praying what I could possibly say to such a talented group of people. And I don't just mean the students, I mean the families and friends here, and certainly my colleagues in the department. But I hope, nonetheless, I can give you some things to think about, even if they're probably not as good as the person that you elected as first place for speaker. So I even researched some famous commencement speeches, and a common theme that appears in a lot of these is, dream big, think big, be ambitious, follow your dreams. So I suppose right up front I'm going to disappoint you, and as a sort of a TLDR of the theme I want to convey, think small. All right, think small, and your life is not about you. all right? So this computational methods class, is a very useful class, all right? And I mean useful in the worst sense of the word. It's alongside all other sorts of other useful classes, reinforced concrete, groundwater hydrology, geotechnical engineering, dynamics and modeling, environmental aquatic chemistry, biological process design. But why? Why? What's the point? What has gone so terribly wrong in your life that you have to sit here and learn how to solve math problems on a computer? Right? But now that you have this knowledge, what do you do? What do you do with it? And more broadly, why even be an engineer in the first place? See, in my opinion, what makes your Notre Dame engineering degree so powerful that it's not simply a degree in utility. Right? It's not merely useful, or at least that's not what it's supposed to be. I want to challenge and implore you to reflect on your useless classes, these ones that you probably complained a lot about, those which are simply good in themselves and aren't strictly for some purpose. Right? It's here that we actually find answers to many of these questions. What do I do with my knowledge of reinforced concrete? Who am I? What is my relationship and responsibility to other people? What's my relationship with God? Although Daston probably vehemently disagrees, probably he does, you can get glimpses of this by reading things like Anna Karenina, right? Simply because it's good, and it shows you something about the human heart. Right? This is what you get from reading philosophy and theology. That's why you take them at a university like this. By the way, is anyone reading anything good lately? Any good book recommendations? This is something that we do in class, and no one's ever reading anything good. I just finished some Steinbeck, which, as usual, is fairly depressing. So, spoiler alert. God is real, all right? God is real, and we can know things about him. That's why you take theology. To quote St. John Henry Newman, the degree you get here at Notre Dame tries to confront, and I quote, this day's philosophy, which sets up a system of universal knowledge and teaches of plants and earth and creeping things and beasts and gases, about the crust of the earth and about the changes of the atmosphere, about sun, moon, and stars, about man and his doings, about duty, about cause and effect, about all things imaginable except one, and that is about him who made all these things, about God. End quote. Our quest for truth and justice, and that's what we're all doing here at a university, our quest for truth and justice most certainly should not bracket out God, and your degree with all of those useful classes reflects this and makes you stand apart from other institutions. This God that created and upholds the very material that we engineers aim to manipulate, to use to help people, at the same time loves you intensely, you specifically. One of the most beautiful things I noticed when I interviewed on this campus is that there's a crucifix in every single classroom. What a fantastic reminder, right, as you're grinding through classes, of the lengths to which you'll go for each one of us. Even if you were the only person left in the world, Jesus would die for you again. No matter who you are, what you've done, or whether or not you remember how many stencil points you need to approximate a second derivative. So the stock answer I get a lot to the question of why be an engineer is just to help people. All right, so either this is just given as a stock answer, or just people are actually truly better than I was. I mean, if you'd asked me back in 2002 when I was entering college at UMass why I was going to go study engineering, it was because I liked math and physics. I think UMass actually sent me a brochure with a picture of a helicopter or something on it. Help people? No, I just want to go do integrals. But please consider this. How wonderful would it be to answer this question, why am I an engineer? Well, how wonderful would it be to say, because I'm called to it, because of love. I'm an engineer because I love God, God loves me, I love creation, and I love those that can be served with my hands and my mind. Again, I'm not saying that this was my mindset, either at the beginning or at the end of my public school engineering education, but I've tried to grow into it. And how wonderful to start contemplating that now. So to help you with this, there's an amazing thing that you've gained by coming to this particular university, distinct from all the other top-level universities in the world: the presence of the Catholic faith, a faith that I insist can be applied to any and all aspects of your spiritual, academic, professional, and personal lives. The presence of faith permeating through this campus that you've been a part of for the last 4 years will hopefully serve as a future reminder that you have a powerful secret weapon at your disposal at all times in your life: neural networks. Right? You guys remember those? No. Prayer. Prayer is what I mean. In every single crossroads in your life, in moments of joy, gratitude, confusion, or despair, turn to Jesus in prayer and he'll answer you. I think at least a few of you were at Bishop Barron's talk recently on campus. where he was asked about how to discern whether we're on the right path or not. Which job should I take? Grad school? Should I get married? Should I join the religious life? What does God want me to do? What should I be doing with my life? I have this useful degree. What next? And his response was startlingly concise. Look at Galatians 5. Are the fruits of the Holy Spirit growing within you or not? Love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. What in your life produces these? What in your life increases them? Which path in your life most fosters these? Go there. Find your mission, and like Notre Dame, Our Lady, go in haste. But I'm going to be the first to admit that this is not easy at all. Look, so I had you guys in the fall of 2021, and I think I definitely said this, and who knows if you remember it, but this has been a really difficult couple years for me and my family. All right, I taught you in the fall semester, and that June prior, my little son Patrick was born with a club foot, a cleft palate, and something called micronathia, which is a small lower jaw. So when he was born, he had to go spend 6 weeks in the NICU down in Indianapolis getting his feet corrected, and his jaw actually extended by 2 centimeters. All right, it's sort of like a civil engineering problem. My superhero of a wife lived quasi-homelessly down there, back and forth between the hospital and hotels, holding him, singing to him, and loving him as much as possible, while I tried to hold the fort up here. My other kids never got to meet him. He was born on June 16th. They didn't get to meet him until August 5th. That was 2 weeks before I met all of you. He had another surgery during our semester together, and most recently, just this last February, got his cleft palate repaired. He's doing very well now, and he's even back here. He came to celebrate with you guys. But my point here is this. It's a matter of when, not if, life begins to weigh you down, and things might get dark, even possibly very dark, right? Perhaps it already has, right? I mean, you guys experienced COVID while you were here, and it turned everyone upside down. And things completely outside of your control will happen that you wouldn't have ever chosen for yourself. And then what? The answer remains the same, and it's what I sincerely hope you take away. You're intellectually well prepared, but you've got the power of prayer and hope to guide you. So another challenge, and I've brought this up in class before as well, that will try to disrupt your peace is what in my mind I call the brutal meritocracy of this world. I'm pretty sure I did bring this up. This notion that grades and accolades somehow define who you are and are what give you your worth. There's a kid's book at home I really enjoy reading. It's called You Are Special. I'm not going to lie, that kind of makes me gag, the title of that. But it's actually quite nice. It's the story of little Punchinello, a wooden Wemmick living in a town of other wooden people, each unique in their own way. All day long, the Wemmicks go around giving out gold star stickers and gray dot stickers to each other. Gold stars to people who look good, speak well, jump high, right? We just gave out some gold stars just a minute ago. Gray dots to those like Punchinello who don't have a lot of natural talents. If you say something inelegant or dumb, you get a gray dot. Or you go give someone a gray dot if you hear something. If you see someone fall down, you give them a gray dot. You see someone do something good, you give them a gold star. Scuffed paint, your hat keeps falling off, gray dot. So sometimes people would just come up to him and give him a gray dot for no reason at all, or simply because he already had gray dots. But one day, Punchinello meets Lucia, another Wemmick, who somehow has no dots at all, or stars. How could this be? She tells him, go and see Eli. He's the wood carver who lives on the top of the hill. And the next day he goes. So Eli, right, so he's the creator of the Wemmicks. It's a huge workshop. And upon seeing Eli points out, he says, oh, you've got a lot of great dots. And his response is, I'm so sorry. I tried really hard. Do you guys say that? I tried really hard. And Eli's response, what do I care about these gray dots or the gold stars? Those are given to you by other Wemmicks. I created you. I know your name and I love you. That's what matters, not how many gray dots or gold stars you have. This weekend at Notre Dame is not simply about giving you a gold star. Your degree is meant to reflect many things, your knowledge of a subject material, of course, but your hard work, your dedication, your diligence, and perseverance. It's a call to find your mission and follow it, asking the Lord for help and an increase in the fruits of the Spirit along the way. And with all things, what will be your motivation? Love. Confidence in God's love for you and your love for neighbor. I'm almost done. I'll draw to a close by revisiting my TLDR from above. But who is my neighbor, right? Think small. Your life's not about you. So who is my neighbor? You're not being called to ever greater accomplishments. Thomas Merton once said, people spend their whole lives climbing a ladder of success only to find, once they reach the top, that the ladder's leaning against the wrong wall. The best we can do is cooperate with God's plan for us, right? I recently came across another quote from Roger Scruton. Sorry for all the quotes. For us humans who enter a world marked by the joys and sufferings of those who are making room for us, who enjoy protection in our early years and opportunities in our maturity, I'm looking at you, parents, grandparents, siblings, the field of obligation is wider than the field of choice. We're bound by ties that we never chose, and our world contains values and challenges that intrude from beyond the comfortable arena of our agreements. What does this mean? It means think small. Your life is not about you. So much of what you have and will encounter is totally outside of your control and your sphere of influence. And way too much energy is spent by getting upset, anxious, angry, fearful of things far away from you. Just look around you. You have neighbors who love you and who you can love. How can you make a difference as an engineer, as a Notre Dame engineer? Go and be a saint in the world. Go and be a saint who understands reinforced concrete or wastewater treatment. Yeah, work on great engineering projects and be ambitious, but also be salt and light in the world, right? It's the Feast of the Ascension. It's the Feast of Ascension. So why are you standing here looking up at the sky? Go. And maybe you've heard Jesus' words to Peter, the gates of hell shall not prevail against the church. This is perhaps not meant as a defensive posture. It means go out and bash down the gates of hell. And with Christ leading us, they're helpless. So all right, class of 2023, let me wrap up this homily, commencement speech, or whatever we're going to call it at this point. Continue to pour love and dedication into everything that you do. Never stop developing a deeper and deeper love, a love of math, a love of wastewater, a love of concrete, a love of wisdom, beauty, truth, love of neighbor, and a love of God. And remember to use the things that you've gained here at Notre Dame, your skills, friends, and knowledge to serve those around you. We love you. We wish you the best in your future endeavors. Thanks. God bless you, and good luck.
Now we'll do the presentation of diplomas. If you guys could come up to assist.
Candace Elizabeth Atchison, Bachelor of Science, Civil Engineering, cum laude. Brian Alejandro Barriga, Bachelor of Science, Civil Engineering. Tatiana Melanie Boning, Bachelor of Science, Civil Engineering. Ariana Gordon, Jerkowitz, Bachelor of Science, Environmental Engineering. Jenna Helen Maria Brancatella, Bachelor of Science, Civil Engineering. Nathaniel James Dose Burke, Bachelor of Science, Environmental Engineering, magna cum laude. Samuel Joseph Cadman, Bachelor of Science, Civil Engineering. Caitlin Louise Cano, Bachelor of Science, Environmental Engineering. Elizabeth Patricia Capretta, Bachelor of Science, Civil Engineering, cum laude. Oscar Alejandro Chavez, Bachelor of Science, Civil Engineering. Matthew Vincent Chaloa, Bachelor of Science, Civil Engineering. Helen Josephine Klosky, Bachelor of Science, Civil Engineering, cum laude. Samantha Caitlin Cook, Bachelor of Science, Civil Engineering. Andrew Joseph DeLuca, Bachelor of Arts, Political Science, and Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering, magna cum laude. Hannah Teresa Inabnit, Bachelor of Science, Environmental Engineering. Micah Aaron Patrick Finlay, Bachelor of Science, Civil Engineering. Mason Bradley Fish, Bachelor of Science, Civil Engineering. Jake Ryan Franklin, Bachelor of Science, Civil Engineering. Matthew Stephen Ginter, Bachelor of Science, Civil Engineering. Elena E. Herberg, Bachelor of Science, Environmental Engineering. Ricardo Hernandez, Bachelor of Science, Civil Engineering. Andres Ibarra, Bachelor of Science, Civil Engineering. Elizabeth Mary Jaraki, Bachelor of Science, Environmental Engineering. Ella Ann Junker, Bachelor of Science, Environmental Engineering.
Adelaide Megan Lammers, Bachelor of Science, Environmental Engineering. Jose Angel Manriquez, Bachelor of Science, Environmental Engineering. Margaret Emily Matthews, Bachelor of Science, Civil Engineering, cum laude. Lillian Claire Montauban, Bachelor of Science, Environmental Engineering. Lee Dongu Gochi, Bachelor of Science, Civil Engineering. Ronan Eugene Nilsson, Bachelor of Science, Civil Engineering. Daniel James Pronko, Bachelor of Science, Civil Engineering, magna cum laude. Matthew Dominic Purcell, Bachelor of Science, Civil Engineering. Isao Tsin, Bachelor of Science, Environmental Engineering. Owen Quinn Ritchie, Bachelor of Science, Civil Engineering. Leslie Elizabeth Romero, Bachelor of Science, Civil Engineering. Lauren Michelle Ruthven, Bachelor of Science, Civil Engineering. John Joseph Sains, Bachelor of Science, Civil Engineering, cum laude. Patricia A. Salazar, Bachelor of Science, Civil Engineering. Nicholas Dwight Cinsoni, Bachelor of Science, Civil Engineering. Eduardo Segura, Bachelor of Science, Civil Engineering. Elizabeth Ann Sheridan, Bachelor of Science, Civil Engineering, cum laude. Megan Elizabeth Staley, Bachelor of Science, Environmental Engineering. Jason Ross Thomas, Bachelor of Science, Civil Engineering, cum laude. Dostin Tersaleyev, Bachelor of Science, Environmental Engineering. Kason Johenry Wilburn, Bachelor of Science, Environmental Engineering. Jada Janelle Woodard, Bachelor of Science, Civil Engineering. Anna Claire Zielinski, Bachelor of Science, Environmental Engineering.
And now, big loud applause for absolutely every one of them. And graduates, I would like to ask you all to stand, turn around, and applaud the families and friends who supported you to get you here. So that brings us to the end of our ceremony here. I want to thank all of you for being here. As always, it's an absolutely wonderful celebration. Graduates, I meant what I said at the end of my speech. Come back and visit us frequently, and anytime you do, come knock on my door and tell me your story. There's nothing more that I enjoy than hearing about the futures that they go. So it's been a wonderful time, a wonderful day, and we're going to finish with the alma mater. So please rise. Congratulations once again. Have a wonderful afternoon, and we will all be around here to spend some time together. Thank you very much.